Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and we want to welcome you to this episode of Life Talks, Thanksgiving episode. Dan, what are you thankful for today, man?
I'm just thankful that I, on this Thanksgiving, will be eating real turkey and not tofu like somebody who's sitting across the studio from me.
All right, stop. Before this episode started, I shared with everyone that we have a tofu loaf at our Thanksgiving. We have turkey there as well.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, today we learned that Ben is a communist.
Listen, don't knock it until you try it.
I got to ask this question.
Yeah.
Do you have gravy with tofu?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, I bet you that is tasty.
Listen, you and I only live 15 minutes apart. I'm going to bring over a slab of tofu
If you do,
loaf.
I will not answer the door. I will sick my dog on you.
Oh, your dog is really scary, Dan. It's about the size of a Tonka truck. Okay. Yes, I am having tofu for Thanksgiving.
He admits this publicly.
Yes, listen, I'm secure in my manhood.
And pink is his favorite color.
First I'm a communist, now I'm effeminate. I don't know what's going on here today.
Well, we're woke.
Dan just can't believe that I'm satisfied.
No. This isn't Dan. This is the entire planet. Then you.
Are you telling me that you and I will never be able to eat Thanksgiving together?
If it involves tofu,
well,
yes.
What if
I
it's just there as an option? I didn't say it's like the only thing. I just said it's there to be consumed.
If you start with a tofu turkey, I can only imagine what the rest of your meal must be like.
All right.
Gelatinous,
it is amazing. My wife cooks amazingly.
Dude, you need to
for
get
Thanksgiving.
Out.
Listen, it's not like I haven't had turkey before. I've had turkey 100 times. Turkey's great. I'll probably have a couple slices of turkey.
As I said earlier, I would rather have a piece of Spam carved up like a chicken gizzard than I would tofu anything. But that's just me.
We have
and everybody else.
We haven't even talked about. Well, I guess we have talked about Thanksgiving. By the way, what is your favorite time of the day to have Thanksgiving?
Oh, I'm like a 1:30, 2 o'clock guy.
1:30, 2 o'clock? Yeah.
Right before the football games start.
Yeah. Well, there's a football game starts at noon.
Oh, that's not the good one. The good one starts later.
Yeah.
And it gives me just a few minutes before I fall into my coma.
Yeah. I think 1:32 is the perfect
I've never seen a complete
slot.
Thanksgiving football game.
You haven't?
No, I fall asleep every time.
Well, if you had tofu, you wouldn't be sleeping.
You're right. I'd be in the bathroom hurling.
Yeah. One time this is when I was younger, so I didn't have a choice of this. But one time I went over to my, we were having it with my aunt, and we lived in Washington, D.C. area when I was a kid. And we had like 7 o'clock Thanksgiving meal. There's nothing worse than.
No, that's not it.
I mean, it's
again,
like you
come from a whole family of
all
communists.
day. No, that only happened one time. But like,
no, because 7 o'clock is when you rewarm everything.
Oh, dude, there's nothing like a reheated plate of.
Oh, it's far better.
Phenomenal.
Far Oh, we have a crisis at the Burrell house.
What's that?
My microwave went out yesterday. And I don't know what. I'm seriously panicked about this.
I know exactly what you're going to do. You're going to, by Wednesday afternoon, when the office is shut down, you're going to grab that microwave in the church office and you're going to carry it home.
I honestly looked at that. Okay, here was plan B. That was plan A.
Yeah.
I feel so guilty right now. Plan B was to go to Walmart and buy one and see if we could keep it from splattering so we could take it back on Saturday.
Oh my gosh. Or you could just buy it, then wait for the Black Friday deal and get some money back. That's another option as well.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
I don't know what to do.
I would suggest,
I need prayer.
If your microwave went out, I would just say, I don't think there's anything wrong with using the church's microwave for one day. That's all I'm going to say.
I take back all those things I said to you about your tofu turkey. By the way, what happens when you warm up tofu in a microwave? Does it melt?
No.
Does it explode?
Listen, it tastes just like turkey meat.
Does it turn into a solid piece of plastic?
It tastes just like turkey meat. If you closed your eyes and took a bite and you chewed it,
yesterday.
You would not know any difference. Oh. I promise you. We're having a debate episode, and we didn't even mean to do this.
5 minutes in, and we're still talking about your stinking tofu.
It's because you won't give it up. All right, one of these things before you die.
You could wrap that thing up any way you want it. You could wrap it in bacon. I wouldn't eat it. Well, maybe.
Next
I would eat the
time,
bacon
next
off of
time
it.
Dan is sick and he's on like some fast, the first thing I'm is like, don't feed him anything until he takes a bite of this turkey loaf, and you will, because you'll be so hungry.
All of our Life Talk listeners, I want you to weigh in on what you think about this communist I work with.
Oh my goodness! Wait, am I communist or am I effeminate? Which one is it, Dan?
Both. Here.
Okay, so we're having a fun episode today. What we're gonna just talk about 3 things that we're thankful for, and for this past year. I mean, we can talk about a lot of things that we're thankful for, big things that we're thankful for.
I'm so stressed about this list because you're going to leave something or somebody off. And
you're stressed about microwaves. You're stressed about.
It's the holidays. I spend from Thanksgiving to Easter in therapy.
Okay, so but you stressed about this list. Why?
Because I know I'm going to miss something I should have said, and then if my wife hears this episode, she's going to be like, "Well, why didn't you say this? Well, why aren't you thankful for me?"
Well, now that you've thought of it,
I love my
now
wife.
that you've thought of it,
I like to assume that everybody knows that
we're thankful for our wives.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
okay.
okay.
But you're up first. I'm going to ask you, what is the one thing? We're each going to give 3, but what's the first thing that you're
all right?
thankful
So
for?
if I can take a deep breath and try to be serious,
Yes.
I got to tell you this. I love my life group.
Yes, you do.
Which is really weird.
And they love you.
I don't know if they love me or not. They just put up with me. But no, I mean, several years ago, Seth Farger talked me into joining him in his life group. And I griped about it. I griped about it every time we met. Oh, these stupid kids come in. I love my kids.
Yeah.
It is, I wanted a group of about 6 or 8, and we have over 30.
Yeah.
They're messy. The other day, I caught them standing on my couch. I had to replace my carpet already. They eat me out of house and home. They stay until between 11 and 12 o'clock until I finally get sick of them and say, go home. And I would not change a thing. I really love them. They give me hope. They make me laugh. They make me think. God's doing great things in their life. And I would just say this to anybody. If you're not pouring into somebody younger than you, then you're missing a huge blessing, because they will pour right back.
Yeah.
And for everybody who wants to just criticize millennials and Generation Z kids, don't be ignorant. Seriously, used to be them, first of all, and we were just as hopeless and confused.
Yeah.
Secondly, they're putting up with stuff in their life and culture that we never even thought about. And thirdly, if they need anything, they need somebody who will patiently listen to them and walk with them during a difficult stage of life. So I'm just thankful for them. They love God. They love the Word, and they've got so much potential. So I'm thankful for them.
Yeah, and I'm thankful because I've got 3 kids that have been to your life community, and you have had an impact on them, and not just them. I know many young people that have gone there that you've had an impact on. So,
it's such a weird relationship we have, because I mean, here I'm a 60-year-old dude, and all these 20-year-old kids in the house. It's kind of like an anaconda who loves a baby chick or something. I mean, it's just weird, but no, it works, and it's because they are willing to listen to somebody older. And I love your kids like they were my own too. So
I know.
So what are you thankful for?
All right. So here, this is kind of a lighthearted one, but this is when I was thinking about this list today. This is the first thing that popped in my brain. I am thankful that in the year 2022 that we have not had to make a COVID-related decision this year. I mean,
we can't take that for granted.
I mean,
right?
I'm serious. After 2 years of just barrage of decision-making points that we had to do, masks, no mask, when to have services, when to start services, when to open up Kid Life. I mean, it was just like for 2 straight years and it was about a year ago that we had our final, Omicron outbreak, and it was, went through the church one last time. But I just think about, we're in month 11 of the 12 months of 2022, and we have not ever had to we've in any elders meeting, staff meeting, there's never once been hey, this thing with COVID, we've got to make another decision. And I just thank God for that.
Yeah, don't you miss the days when every decision you made was wrong? And made everybody angry.
Yes, exactly. All right, so number 2 for you, what's the second thing you're thankful for?
And again, for whatever, I guess I have a theme now going, but I'm thankful for my adult children. Somebody once said, once you get past the parenting years, life changes. Well, my oldest is 34, my youngest is 25, and I'm still waiting for the end of parenting
It
to
never
kick
ends,
in.
does it?
But the relationship does change,
Hmm.
and in many ways, as your children, come unto themselves, and have adult-sized problems, have adult-sized challenges, and have adult-sized joys in the
Mhm.
process, you get to view it from a different perspective. I'm very blessed, and maybe this is overall, I'm thankful for my family. I'm very blessed. My mother's still alive. My mom,
Mm.
and she probably, at a certain age, it's okay to talk about a woman's age. I think my mom's there. She's 81,
Yeah.
right? She had me when she was 19, and so there's 19 years and like 4 months difference between
Mhm.
our ages. And it wasn't because of anything untoward. In those days,
Yeah, people got
people got
married
married
younger, yeah.
she got married at 18. So,
Mm.
or was she 19? No, she was 18. I don't know. But anyway, I was born 10 months later, and my mom has always been a dear friend. My mom is my wife's.
Mhm.
My wife often says I had two moms. She had the mom
Mhm.
that she lost when she was 22, and then she's had second mom.
Mhm.
I knew all my grandparents.
Mm.
I knew most of my great grandparents. And now I know my children as adults. Those are privileges that not everybody gets to enjoy, but they're sweet and valued. And while my kids don't live close by, most of them, the reality is when we get together, we take off right where we left behind.
Mm.
There were times in high school when I honestly think they hated me, and I wasn't particularly fond of them at moments. And it was, a challenge, and that could change. One minute we were laughing and joking, and the next minute we were crying and fighting during those years.
Yeah.
As adults, all of a sudden, the whole relationship changes. The
Mm.
dynamism shifts. And now, I just love it when my kids call me in the middle of the day and say, "Hey, Dad, just want to hang out,
Yeah.
check." Man, those are great
Yeah.
moments.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good. So the second thing I'm thankful for is now, again, I'm thankful for my wife in a lot of ways, but my wife is the one who gave me the courage to go back to school this year. And I probably would not have done it if I did not have her support and her encouragement. And going back to school when you're 45 years old is, not
Scary.
It's not something that like I haven't gone to 20 some years since I've done that. And so it was really it was a step of faith, and I would not have done it if I did not have her backing, if I did not have her belief in me. And it consumes a lot of my time, but the time it consumes doesn't affect, like, it's not like I'm reducing my workload. It's affecting my time at home and what I'm able to give to my wife and my kids when I'm at home. So, there's a personal sacrifice that she's having to bear the brunt of, and she's always done that no matter what I've done. And so I'm just thankful. I'm thankful that I did this because I love what I'm learning right now. I love going back to school. I love the field I'm growing in, and I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for her encouragement. So that's something I'm personally thankful for this
That's
year.
cool.
All right.
That's cool.
So number 3, what's the third thing you're thankful for?
Now, are we just doing 3?
Just 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we could do more if you thought of more.
No, I just wanted. I'm trying to plot my time. When we were having this conversation before, I said it was hard for me to pick them. It wasn't hard for me to pick.
You should have seen Dan. Well, he walks in. I'm like, we're doing this Thanksgiving episode. I'm like, we're going to talk about what we're thankful for. I was like, oh man, rah rah rah! This is the worst idea ever. And he's like, I can't think of anything. And I said, the moment we turn on the microphones, the moment we turn on the cameras, you're going to just be like this rock star. And now, what Britt? Am I right? I mean, you could go on for another 15 minutes.
You're going to feel really bad now.
Why?
Because my number 3 was you.
Oh! I don't feel bad at all. I was honest.
You wouldn't. No, I am dead honest. Number 1 and number 2 I struggle with because I already knew what my number 3 was going to be. Dude, I can't tell you how much I love working with you.
No, me too.
And
Ditto, man.
I'm at that stage in ministry and life and so forth where it's I call it the phase of last times. There's things you used to do as you're a kid that you don't do as, like, you remember when you used to run across the room in your stocking feet and see how far you could slide?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore.
You're gonna pull something, or you're gonna fall down, or
whenever the kids would run across the floor and jump into your lap, or jump into your arms like that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that sometimes we don't know when the last times are.
Yeah.
You know, like the last time you hold your kid's hand when they're crossing the street, because I'd have just bawled like a little girl.
Yeah.
But I'm at this stage where I want to appreciate the moments I have and the good things that are happening now at this stage in my life. You know, having 2 health scares that, you know, I didn't know I was going to survive them or not in the last 18 months or so. But when God allowed me to come into this relationship and work with you again, after we'd both grown up a great deal,
Yeah.
and you and I are so different.
We
I
really
mean, yeah,
are.
we're like just opposites, but it just works.
Yeah.
And I have such confidence in you, such trust in you. I like the fact that you as a younger guy can speak truth into an old man's life when you need to. I like to follow your leadership. You challenge me. And so as corny as it sounds, and you're not going to slip me a 5 under the table or anything.
We're having a moment.
We're having a moment. But no, I really, I want the world to know I love Ben Rudolph, and I'm glad to work with him.
Thank you. I wish I thought of you for number 3, but I didn't. But I am. Obviously, I'm thankful for you.
No,
But here's my number 3. My number 3 thing that I'm thankful for is I'm thankful that God never stops changing us. Like, I know that there's a theological understanding of that, and I've preached on it. You know, we can look at the Bible. He who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete in the day of Jesus Christ. We've preached on that passage before. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, he who calls you is faithful and he will do it. I mean, there's this idea that God is working in us to conform us into the image of Jesus. One of the most, I think, profound passages of Scripture. And I think it's in 2 Corinthians. I think it's chapters 2, 3, and 4 that really talk about this idea of being conformed to the image of Jesus in probably the most theological, complete ways that Paul ever does. And I love that section of 2 Corinthians. But you know, I was talking to someone the other day, and we were talking about just my time here at the church, and I said, listen, when I look back. When I've been here for almost 5 years, and I thought, what I'm thankful for is I am a different person than I was when I first came here. And you know, a lot of times we think God wants me to do something, or He gives me an opportunity, whether it's my job or ministry or whatever, because there's a task He wants me to do. And there might be tasks that He wants us to do, but above all, what God wants us to do is to become like Jesus. And so I don't, you know, you and I both know, we don't make judgment calls on how quote unquote successful we are at leadership in a church, because so much of it is in the hands of God. We don't know what is wheat and chaff, or we don't know how much is chaff and what's going to last, right? But I can honestly say that I'm thankful to God that He has really grown me and changed me and made me more aware of the person that He wants me to be. I think that I just sense that, I feel that, and you know, so if someone was to say, was your time at Life Fellowship successful? And I have no plans on ever leaving anytime soon, but I would say yes, because I believe that I love Jesus more, and He has refined me in ways that I needed to be refined through this entire season, and so. I'm just thankful for that. I'm thankful that God never gives up on us. There's always, you know, it's kind of like there's always this other layer that God tears back and says, oh, you see, like, for example, you know, fear has always been one of those bosses in my life. And what I find so cool is when I think, oh yeah, I'm doing great with this. And then just God rips open this layer and He's like, what about fear about that? And you're like, oh, no, not that. And He's like, yeah, I'm dealing with that right now. And then He takes you through this process of, will you trust me? Will you trust me with this? Will you trust me with that? And it's just, He never stops. And I'm thankful for that. So those are the 3 big things that I'm thankful for.
Yeah. And you know, just you mentioning that just reminds me that every phase in your life, God is coming from a completely different angle, teaching you completely different things. And even sometimes I look back on a couple of hard experiences I've had. I would never, ever want to go through them again. They were painful, difficult. But in those moments, I learned things that allow me to enjoy my life today better and more richly
Yes.
than I would if I've never gone through them.
Absolutely.
So even if you've had a crummy year this year,
Yeah.
I think you can find things to be thankful for. And I think both of us would agree that we're thankful for those who listen to Life Talks.
Absolutely.
They send us
Our
texts.
fourth thing is you.
Yes. No, but I mean, you and I experience it virtually every week. Somebody will come up to us and say, "Oh, I listened to this."
That's so encouraging.
Yeah. In fact, we should just do Life Talk episodes on Sundays because we get more feedback from Life Talks than we do our sermons sometimes.
That's very
don't we?
true.
And but for all of the people who just faithfully listen, over 400 episodes now. Over 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And originally we thought this would just be a way to talk to people from Life Fellowship Church, and now we've got people who listen to us from even around the world.
Yeah.
And so we're grateful for this. We're grateful for the forum, and we do have a lot of fun on this.
Absolutely.
and that makes it even more enjoyable to do.
Yeah. Next episode, you're going to see Dan eat a turkey loaf.
Yeah.
Or a tofu loaf, I should say. Can you imagine the views we could get from that, though?
Yeah. Well, if we were monetized,
if we cared about views, that's the kind of things that these things would do. But well, listen. One of the things as we end this episode, I want to encourage you. The Word of God says, "In all things, give thanks." And maybe as you're listening to this, maybe it's Thanksgiving or maybe it's another day. Take some time, make a list. Do something to let people know around you and to your faith community what you're grateful for, because gratitude and thanksgiving is one of the ways we worship God. And I hope that you'll be able to do that today with family and with friends. Thanks so much for joining us today on Life Talks. I hope you eat well today. We'll talk to you next time.